this is going to be a very, very interesting session. And we want more and more people to occupy the seats fast because then there'll be no space. So yes, street food revolution. We're going to be talking about this topic, which is absolutely a beautiful topic because so much to talk about street food revolution in the country. So I think we've already introduced, but I would still...
I'm Gunjan, Goela. Born, brought up in Delhi, so my passion for Delhi food has always been my first love. And then when you talk about Delhi food, the first thing that comes to your mind is the roadside chaat. And I'm born in Old Delhi, so that Old Delhi flavor was always inbuilt in me, and probably that took me to places, and I realized that Delhi definitely has a very distinct flavor. For my introduction. Okay, all right. I've been working with ITC, then I started developing street food, length and breadth of India as well as abroad. Largely because I felt there is a big dent that street food can be developed and can make it an international market.
I am Manav Sharma. I am a hospitality consultant. Quickly about me, I'm a chef by profession. I have been a restaurateur. I ran my own restaurants at one point of time in Delhi for about 10 years. For the last 15 years, I've been consulting, setting up projects like restaurants and hotels. And the current projects that I'm doing, so there are many, but I will pick a couple of them which will make, which is kind of related to what we are doing here. So one is a restaurant for a hotel in Haridwar, for a 5-star hotel, setting up a restaurant for them. And the other is a very interesting street food aloo tikki concept for Canada. So that's Indian street food going abroad.
Thank you. So this is Gaurav Bahl, and I represent KOOLCHAAS. Mera wala kulcha. We proudly say that we are the first ones ever to bring the street food kulcha to the organized F&B, not only in the country but worldwide. And we live by the statement, kulcha khao, baki sab bhul jao. Thank you very much. You can go next, Biswajit.
Namaskar, Jai Jagannath. So this is Chef Biswajit from Odisha. So I have been working, by profession I'm a software engineer, but back in 2011 I followed my heart, and food is my passion. So I started working for various properties throughout India, and 2018 I went back to my homeland Odisha and started a restaurant called Breathe by Biswajit, and I also do Breathe events and caterings. And recently have started working with Chef Vikas Khanna, and we are now working on a brand called Odisans. We are promoting Odia tribal cuisine and the lost recipes of Odisha. Thank you.
I'm sometimes very envious of all of you because you guys are so creative and you get to do different things every day, right? So every day is a new day. Every day is a new challenge, and every day you create something out of heart. So I think I'm very envious. I should be on the other side because this is beautiful. Now, Chef Gunjan Goela, your name resonates with me very, very positively. And if I say back, I think 10, 15 years back, because what I understand the moment I take your name is that you've been able to get street food into a different Yona, because you could, actually showcase street food in an ambience of a 5-star and do festivals and teach them how to curate, street food as a festival. So I think you are one of the few chefs who actually started street food into that format. So I would request you if you can just share what the history of street food has been and what has been its implications around and how it's grown. So we would like to hear from you.
Okay, when we say what is the history of street food, it goes back to the time when mankind started understanding what is food. I would say street food is as old as the civilization has been, largely because, there is somebody is cooking at home, and there is food which is outside the home. Now that outside food is what we call as a street food. It's a comfort food. Why do we call it a comfort food? Because A, it's available from morning to evening. Any time you could go and pick up that food for yourself. And it was, best part about the food is this was the freshest form of food, because the diner has the possibility to see what's being done right in front of you under your nose. So you build that confidence that yes, it is done, you know what has gone into it, how it is cooked. Most of the time when you go to a restaurant, so what happens is you don't know when was it cooked, how it is made. But whereas if you're on a street, you see what is being added onto that food. So this is the biggest comfort one has, and that is a large reason for it to continue, for it to grow by leaps and bounds. And I realize it's just not in India, just an example. It is just not in India. This is a favorite food all across the globe. Again, the same factors. Availability of food is round the clock. You can go at the middle of the night and you could find some food on the street. You can see 50% of cooking being done in front of you. So that, that confidence you get, what you want, you can control the food. See, the biggest part is, आपको मिर्च कम चाहिए, आपको दही ज़्यादा चाहिए, आपको सौंठ ज़्यादा चाहिए. You tell the guy who's making it for you. And these are the factors when individual cooking is done with the basic cooking. So the large success, like why it is successful and why it is that even till today, it's because the diner is the happiest and he knows what he's getting. He can see what he's eating. So that is one major point for you say ki why is it that old and it is still surviving. I feel food is one thing that you cannot cheat and you should not cheat, because it's considered very sacred, not in India, most of the countries. They consider this as something which they offer to share. In India, well, it's a sacred thing because we offered the first food we cooked to the God. So the history goes back. You see how many restaurants survive till when they started. It's, they're not able to build that confidence. So these factors play for it to continue, and I think it will ever be there. Street food is here to stay forever.
Right. Thank you. Okay, over to you, Gaurav. Kulchas is also a very, very famous street food, right?
True.
It is found in every nook and corner of the street. You turn your car and you see a kulcha wala at the corner. So kulchas is something which we've been growing with, right? So we started with the maida kulcha to suji kulcha now, and those typical chanas, which you call matar, right?
Right.
Now you picked that up and you went ahead and you planned to organize it with your brand called KOOLCHAAS. So what was the inspiration and why did you do only kulchas and not something else? Not tikkis and not ballas.
True, so many years back when we thought that we'll do something in the food domain, one thing which was very clear, since I came from a creative background, I said we will not copy anybody there. We would not do something which was already present. And as luck would have it, one guy was having kulcha at office. And I turned my head around, thought for a few moments that whether it can work or not, and we said we'll do kulcha. So that was the start of the journey. Initially we thought it is going to take maybe 2-3 months. Kulche chole hi to hain, matlab usme karna bhi kya hoga zyada. But believe you me, it took us over 2 years to standardize each process, because we were very clear from day one that we are not opening one single outlet. We would make it into a chain. And hence, every process that we standardized was a new process that we created. For many years I was, many months I was hunting for processes. I could not get them. Few of them processes were hit and trial, to be honest. And eventually we did it. There were few modulations which kept happening when we opened as well after 2 years. And today we are with a lot of innovations around kulcha. Not only that, we do the maida kulcha, as you said, we also do multigrain, we also do whole wheat, we also do a masala dough. So basically you can pick your own dough, pick your own filling, pick your own dish as well, not only chole, we do chole as well. And you can have your own kulcha meal. Apart from that, we've also done some innovations around the snacks that we offer. There is something like a chana kachori that we do. We do something like a vada kulcha. It's pretty close to what a vada pav is. And the journey so far has been pretty nice. We are now present in prominent locations. I would be happy to reveal that, we would be coming up with the first ever Indian drive-through of a Indian product. So there are some of these innovations that we've done, some of them upcoming, and yes, the journey has been very beautiful. I don't come from a hospitality background, but I love the hospitality industry now. Thank you so much, Taran. I hope I've been able to answer
I
your
think
question.
the ingredients of being in a hospitality industry, apart from that qualification, is also your passion and your love and your emotions. Because, as I say, nothing moves without emotions, So
Absolutely.
even marketing doesn't move without emotions. And unless you don't touch the chords, it doesn't stay with you for long, right? And
yeah,
you
true.
win people.
Absolutely,
on your
and all the ingredients that we do are done by us. All the masalas are even grounded, blended by us. In fact, today I'm so happy that my mom is here,
Yeah.
who's been the recipe holder of every dish that we have here at KOOLCHAAS. She's been amazing support and takes care of the kitchen totally.
So it's a pleasure to have you here, ma'am.
Absolutely today. Thank you, Taran.
Biswajit, you've actually worked on street food in Odisha specifically a lot, yeah? And you've tried to weave a lot of cultural fusion also with your food. So would you like to just throw some light on that?
So back when I started back in 2011, when I started my career in hotel management, उससे पहले I was very fascinated with the westernized food. Pizza, burgers and all. So very fascinated. So I thought that I would be shifting abroad and I'll be starting my career in some continental food and all. But my nani, she used to always say that don't forget your roots. And when I started working in this industry, I got to know that somewhere in this westernization, we are forgetting our roots. We are leaving our roots behind. So when I see today's street food in my state, I feel pathetic. I feel very pity. I feel sad seeing pani puri, chocolate, हम लोग वहाँ पे गुपचुप बोलते हैं उसको. So chocolate गुपचुप, chicken गुपचुप. So कहीं ना कहीं हम लोग अपना essence भूल जा रहे हैं. So my take, इतने सालों से मैं जो काम कर रहा हूँ, it is only that yes, fusion is good because then हम लोग जनरेशन के हिसाब से हम लोग को चेंजेस चाहिए, पर चेंजेस ऐसे भी ना हो कि उसका एसेंस ही कहीं खो जाए. लाइक शेफ अजय सूद yesterday said and chef Gil also said कि हम लोग we are the creators of our own history and we are the destructors of our own history.
Absolutely.
So it's the time कि हम लोग अभी it's still time is there कि हम लोग अभी उसको सुधार ले, वरना एक टाइम आएगा जब we will be not from our roots will be vanished. एंड कहीं ना कहीं ये स्ट्रीट फूड की जगह पे जो हम लोग दिल्ली फेमस है, उड़ीसा फेमस है, कोलकाता फेमस है फॉर द रियल स्ट्रीट फूड्स, कहीं वो गायब होके हम लोग पिज़्ज़ा, बर्गर्स एंड बाकी सब बेच रहे होंगे. एंड हम लोग अपना मतलब आइडेंटिटी खो चुके होंगे.
आइडेंटिटी, एग्जैक्टली. वही हमने शेफ गिल के साथ डिस्कस किया एंड दैट्स व्हाट he expressed on the table. Right, thank you. So now over to Chef Manav. So Manav has worked on different areas, yeah? So you've actually worked on global cuisine, you've worked on Indian cuisine. So you can actually give an overview, because what happens is that, of course, over, I think, 1934, when Nirulas came in, they were the first ones to get global cuisine in, right? So we actually got introduced to the condiments and the syrups by Nirulas, which I actually thank them. So I was also ex-Nirula, so I'm very passionately involved with, the group there. So the first pizzas and the burgers, actually the OCT is still, Nirula's, and OCT is still very, very, the best, I think, in the industry still, if we get the same taste of Nirula's OCT, which is onion, capsicum, tomato. So what we did was we got it from outside, we got it into India, and then we customized it to our taste. So would you like to throw light as to what all is happening around it, and what is the future now for the global cuisine into India becoming a part of our street food menus?
Okay, so let me start by looking at, and I will talk about the future, what is the future of the street food into bringing it into mainstream. But let me start by street food, international street food जो इंडिया आया है ना, वहाँ से शुरू करते हैं. तो कौन सा स्ट्रीट फूड हमने देखा इंडिया आया जो कि सक्सेसफुल हुआ है? बर्गर, राइट? बट बर्गर आने से पहले वी वर ऑलरेडी इंट्रोड्यूस टू द बन, राइट? हमारे जहाँ भी ब्रिटिशर्स ने जहाँ जहाँ बेकरीज लगाई थी, देहरादून, मसूरी, शिमला, ऊटी, wherever they had these hill stations and wherever they had their cantonments, we were used to the bun. And every child, I mean, all of us in our childhood, we remember bun tikki, right? So a burger is nothing else but a concept which is derived from bun tikki. So when these kind of products and concepts जब ये हिंदुस्तान आते हैं, तो there is a certain level of acceptability which is already there. Now you look at the next product which is very, very successful. Let's say momos, right? Now momo is already existed. पूरे नॉर्थ ईस्ट में we always had momos. आप जब आज से 20 साल पहले भी, 25 साल पहले भी मसूरी घूमने जाते थे, तो वहाँ मोमो बिकते थे. It is not a new thing for us. Today, over a period of time, we rediscovered it. और हमने उसको एक उसकी reach बढ़ाई है, right? So that is the history, right? And this is where we are regarding the international cuisine which has been coming into India. Like you said, pizza. Pizza is what? Pizza is local street food of Italy. इटली में गलियों में खाया जाता है पिज़्ज़ा. हमारे को क्यों पसंद आता है? क्योंकि उसमें नीचे रोटी है, उसके ऊपर सब्जी है, राइट? एंड देन चीज़ इज द फैट. तो जब ये कॉम्बिनेशन आता है, वी आर ऑलरेडी यूज्ड टू द टेस्ट, राइट? लाइक देयर इज जस्ट आई विल डाइग्रेस कि लॉट ऑफ साउथ इंडियंस दे आस्क्ड मी कि ये साउथ इंडियन क्यों इतना नॉर्थ इंडियन में अच्छा लगता है. तो मैंने कहा हमको कोई साउथ इंडियन टेस्ट अच्छा नहीं लगता. वी डोंट अंडरस्टैंड कोकोनट, वी डोंट अंडरस्टैंड साउथ इंडियन फ्लेवर्स. पर डोसा इसलिए पॉपुलर है एंड इडली और वड़ा नहीं पॉपुलर है क्योंकि डोसा इज व्हाट? डोसा इज रोटी, आलू इज सब्जी एंड सांभर इज दाल. तो हमारे लिए वो थाली कंप्लीट हो गई विद चटनीज. सो वी ऑपरेट फ्रॉम दैट कॉन्सेप्ट. वी हैव नथिंग टू डू विद द साउथ इंडियन फ्लेवर्स. हम कभी खाने में भी नहीं डालते. और कई नॉर्थ इंडियन घरों में तो अगर मस्टर्ड सीड का तड़का लगा दो, कड़ी पत्ते का तड़का लगा लो, लोग खाना नहीं खाते, राइट? So, but that's the concept, right? Now, looking at कि आपने पूछा कि what is the next big cuisine from the international sphere coming into India, which should do well. So, one cuisine which should definitely do well and which is the future is Turkish cuisine. So, you see the whole Mediterranean region, Turkey, the whole Middle East, right? So, it already exists in bits and pieces. हर बार में, हर रेस्टोरेंट में आज की डेट में आपको एक मेज़े प्लेटर मिलेगा. सो यू आर ऑलरेडी इंट्रोड्यूस्ड टू पीता, फलाफल, हमस, तजाज़की. यू आर ऑलरेडी इंट्रोड्यूस्ड टू दैट. इन बिट्स एंड पीसेस इट एग्जिस्ट. फॉर बहुत टाइम पहले से हमारे पास वी हैव द होल कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ शवरमा. सो नाउ ऑल ऑफ दिस पुट टुगेदर विल नाउ स्टार्ट टू अपेयर एज मेन स्ट्रीम मिडल ईस्टर्न और टर्किश फूड ब्रांड्स केटरिंग टू दिस एंटायर cuisine. So this is one. और बताओ. So there is one more which will come, but I'll keep that as a secret. If you have time, I'll tell you.
Sure.
Yeah.
We have paucity of time because everybody needs time.
Yeah, and all this consultation which I'm sharing here, actually I charge for all this.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Okay, now the next question is to you, Gunjan, and then followed by Biswajit on the same topic. That first of all to you, which are the street foods, famous street food areas which are famous, especially in Delhi NCR if we talk about, because sitting here. And how do you rate them from the hygienic point of view? Because now hygiene, sustainability is something which everybody has to look at in terms of, the environment aspect. So would you like to throw some light on that?
When you say area-wise, I still feel Old Delhi, Chandni Chowk is the best place to have the authentic chaat. Not just because that's my area or where I've been born, not brought up, but I was born there. Whenever somebody comes from outside Delhi, the first thing they want to have in their list is Bengali market chaat. Being very honest, that's really not a chaat, which you called, what is chaat? First we need to understand the concept of chaat. See, chaat is a kind of an appetizer for you, not really a meal. The masalas that we make in that chaat is to have a better digestion, to increase your appetite. Now the basic masalas are zeera, hing, ajwain, namak, mirch, khatai. We blend all this and make a chaat masala. Of course, the variations and the combination permutations varies. These are all basically to have a better appetite and to improve the gut system. That is chartna. The word chart, how did it came? That means chartna. You know, आप किसी को लिख कर रहे हो, so that is how the word chart was originated. So all these put together, so you understand the mindset. Why are you having chart? If you go to Old Delhi and if you still are able to talk to some of the very old vendors, they would only like to serve you chart between 2 to 6 because that's a tea time, snack time. And they say this is a time your appetite is at its peak. Now, largely you have to understand what is the mindset of the traders doing trading in Chandni Chowk, because they would come and open the shop at 11 o'clock. They would have a brunch at home, not carry a tiffin. That system was never there. Now, these are the principles of Ayurvedic cooking, I should say, because food was not meant to be reheated. It was cooked and consumed. Now, same thing goes when they were hungrier after having a meal at 11 o'clock. Your stomach is asking for some more food around 2 or 2:30. You have a gap of about 3 to 4 hours, which is sufficient for your appetite to grow. Now, these chaatwalas would be on a ferry. Now, ferry means they're taking a round in Old Delhi. They would come to your shop or they're taking a ferry and then you invite the guy to come and serve you. He'll ask you, what are you looking for? What is your taste? What is your temperament? And in accordance to your demand, he would make the chart. And now see, mind plays such a heavy, important part when you're eating. What state of mood are you in? What does the body want? Because actually the body speaks to you and tells you what is the requirement of the hour. So if you're in a happy mood, you tend to eat sweets more than the chart. It's a biological system that you have, but this is all understanding the principles of Ayurveda. Then if you're having that chart, so you see now when you say hygiene and sustainability, it automatically was a part of it. You'll never find a chaatwala throwing a patta on the road. He would carry a garbage bin with him. He'll ask you to throw that patta into that bin. Achha. And what was he serving the chaat in? Not in a plastic plate. There is a tree called dhaka patta that was used to serve chaat, that also added to the flavor of the chaat. See, it's a combination between dahi and dhaka patta that gives you another aroma and another flavor.
So that means the pattar which we have food in when we are actually sitting in a langar.
Yes.
You know, we have those pattars, right?
Huh.
And even the neem
Yes,
patta,
yes.
sorry, kela ka
Pattal.
patta,
That
when we
is
are
in
having South Indian.
No, that
So-
is a South Indian
Right.
concept because banana plantation is all throughout.
So that means when they serve the food on those pattars or the banana leaf, it combines with it and the taste enhances.
Enhances,
Right.
yes, and it
Beautiful.
improves your digestion. So when you say, see, hygiene was there because they would wipe their hands with a clean cotton cloth and not anything terracotta or anything polyester. So you automatically understand the state of hygiene. Then sustainability, they would only serve you 1 or 2 pieces. There was no scope for you to waste. The pattas they would be serving would be degenerated. So there was no plastic, and and what you eat with was also a patta. And golgappas were meant to be eaten by hand. And even aloo, actually, when you go to Old Delhi, you find very less spoons are being used. You are expected to eat the chaat with your hand and lick the patta with your tongue. So that is
So
is
now
chaat.
we evolved with it, you know.
Yeah, you
So
know-
probably that culture is not there, and plus
No.
some education is lacking also.
Time evolves, things evolved. That was a different era. Today, when you go, you'll find they're serving you in a different plate with a spoon and a napkin. So that concept has already seeped into Old Delhi because of the times, because of the evolution. People's demands have changed, their expectations have changed. This all goes through with the time. I can't hold anyone responsible for it. But definitely I would say I miss those times. and you asked me a particular question, which are the favorite places or which are the best places to have chaat, I would still say Chavdi Bazaar. I would still say Haus Kazi. Metro is there. One can easily commute and you enjoy that flavor. And the best part is they make the garam masala every day. So you find the freshness in the masala. And chaat is all about masala.
So maybe in times to come, we can actually curate a walk
Yes,
with
yes,
you,
yes.
Gunjan,
I
for
do
all the
that.
HHC members.
Yeah, I
so
do that.
we would love to do that, you know.
And you see,
Yeah.
every food has a story.
Right.
And you enhance the food when you understand the history, you understand the story about it. Like there are folk songs, I think in Punjab, even in South. There are folk songs in northern India, especially in Delhi. So when you have chaat, there is some related story. When you have aloo bedmi for breakfast, it is a different feeling altogether. There's a story why aloo is made and how aloo is made and what are the masalas.
I'm sure everybody who's hearing this is already, the mouth-watering aspect is already there, you know,
Thank
in
you.
everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, over to you, Biswajit. Just throw light on this
Yeah,
same
definitely.
concept of
I'm-
hygiene and sustainability.
I'm not from Delhi, and मैम से सुन के अभी पता चला कि चांदनी चौक के बारे में because my brother is there was shooting and वो जब आया दिल्ली मेरे साथ यहाँ पे परसों and he was like मुझे चांदनी चौक जाना है खाना वहाँ पे देखना है
तो
because
बस मैम ने
he's-
आपको ये भी बता दिया कैसे पहुंचना
कैसे
है.
पहुँचना एज इनटू सो मच ऑफ रील्स कि जे वो देख के रखा है कि ये स्पॉट्स में जाना है सो व्हेन इट कम्स टू हेल्थ एंड हाइजीन सो समवेयर आई फील दैट वी हैव बिकम मोर कमर्शलाइज्ड कि हम लोगों को बहुत चीज़ें आसानी से चाहिए जैसे मैम ने बोला कि ढाक के पत्ते राइट सो व्हाट वी डू इन ओडिशा वी यूज साल लीव्स पर because we have become more commercialized and now shal leaves are expensive than the plastic ones, so we prefer plastic, going for the plastics. The cheaper ones. And कहीं ना कहीं वो hygiene commercialization में हम लोग वो hygiene भूल गए हैं कि health and hygiene maintain करना है because I would give one small example. There's a place in Cuttack. So there's a place, एक street food बहुत famous है दही बड़ा आलूदम ओडिशा का. So there is a guy who sells in Cuttack दही बड़ा आलूदम and it's टोटल विथ ब्लैक पेपर बहुत ज़्यादा स्पाइसी है एंड बहुत ज़्यादा लाइन लगता है आई डोंट नो व्हाई स्पाइसी के लिए एंड उसके बगल में एक कुल्फ़ी वाला बैठता है सो बाद में पता चला कि दोनों भाई हैं ही सेल्स द स्पाइसी वन एंड वो उसको बैलेंस करने के लिए वो कुल्फ़ी बेचता है सो दे समवेयर दे आर फॉरगेटिंग दैट हेल्थ एंड हाइजीन को मैटर मतलब इट्स नॉट इट्स बेचना ही है सो कहीं ना कहीं वही कमर्शलाइजेशन प्रोसेस में हम लोग भूल गए हैं कि देयर आर बेटर वेज टू सर्व फूड द बेटर वेज टू मेक फूड एंड फूड इज़ द फर्स्ट थिंग फॉर द हेल्थ हम लोग बोलते हैं हेल्थ इज़ वेल्थ वो बट वो कमर्शलाइजेशन हम लोग वो भूल गए हैं.
Very true, very rightly said. Okay, over to you, Gaurav. It's a different question, not related to hygiene and sustainability, but I wanted to know, how do you think the social media has impacted the spread of, you know, street food or the evolvement of, you know, the street food concept?
Yeah, Taran, yes, social media today is playing a big role. As Biswajit just said that, you know, his brother has come from Orissa and he's already seen all the reels. So people are actually looking at various social media handles or points where they can get a hang of when you're visiting a place, which are those popular places where you would want to visit, and you could choose from them, okay, this is something which would be of interest to us. So I remember when we got covered by Curly Tails and I reached home, mom was already gaga about, you know, aaj mere ko wahan se phone aaya, wahan se phone aaya, wahan se phone aaya, and I mean, they had just posted it on their handle. I mean, it's one of the biggest platform in the country and maybe in the world, which is promoting food and travel. So social media certainly is playing a big role today, and there is no doubt about it.
And I think thanks to the mushrooming influencers and bloggers all around, you know, so mushrooming of so-called influencers and bloggers, because most of them don't even know the real concept of food, unfortunately. Yeah,
Absolutely.
because it's just the TRPs which, you know, we used to get on the TVs, now happening on the social media. You know, we are just doing that for the sake of doing it, right? To be famous and to be noticed. But then I think we need to be a little sensitive towards that also, especially when we are advising or consulting any brands ourselves or running our own brands. We should be very, very conscious whom we are getting engaged with, because that's doing justice to your own brand as well,
Absolutely.
because just looking at the followers or numbers doesn't work.
True.
You need to know the helm of the affairs also. You need to know whether the person really knows what they're writing about or talking about, right? So that is very, very important. So it's our discretion completely, because social media is one thing, but what to pick and what not to pick is completely our call, right? So we have to be responsible that way.
Social media
100%.
can lead us and can also mislead us.
Absolutely.
So we have to
Exactly.
be very
Yeah.
careful about
So we
what
cannot
choosing.
blindly follow it.
Blindly
We
follow
need to evaluate what we're doing. So that's very, very important, right? So over to you, Manav. Um, of course, this entire scenario which we are talking about, street food, evolution and revolution, how it's evolving, and in times to come, what is the scenario going to be? I think since you have been doing a set of different brands, you will give us a holistic picture as to what is happening and what is the way forward now, what is the scenario, how it's going to be shaping up in the near future, what is going to change drastically, and what is going to come in and be a big filler where people should start looking forward to, doing some bit of research, and maybe any startup which is coming up, those are the clues they can pick up from what you say or guide them.
Really? Matlab,
Yeah, so you are not being paid for the consultancy, but everybody is actually looking at you. So maybe you win some good projects around the moment you step out from here.
okay, interesting. So, okay, so what is going around? What's happening? So let me tell you. So I already told you about what are the international food projects which have come into India and why they have done well. I will also tell you now about some which have not done well and which are on their way out. So Mexican cuisine is on its way out, and it's not being accepted at all. So that is one cuisine which will go out. I hope the people from Taco Bell are not listening to me. But it has not got caught on. So एक fundamental कारण है उसका, और उसका reason है कि उसमें एक product पड़ता है which is called refried kidney beans. Rajma for us, is acceptable. But उसको mash करके फिर उसमें कुछ और डाल के फिर जब वो आप wrap में डालते हो, वो बैठ नहीं रहा उसका combination. The other part of the problem is they are unwilling to reinvent themselves. Like McDonald's learned, वो बड़ी जल्दी सीख गए कि पहले उन्होंने जैसे US में खोला वैसे ही इंडिया में खोला, नहीं चला, उनको समझ में आ गया ये फैमिली रेस्टोरेंट चाहिए इनको, तो 50, 60, 70, 100 लोगों की सीटिंग का रेस्टोरेंट बनाया. US में ऐसे नहीं होता. US में देवर काउंटर्स. ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम फूड कोर्ट्स में उन्होंने काउंटर बनाया एंड वी एक्सेप्टेड इट. बट द फर्स्ट वाज, सो द मॉरल ऑफ द स्टोरी इज कि जब आपको किसी को कुछ करवाना है तो पहले आप उनको वो दो जो उनको चाहिए, फिर आप उनको वो दे सकते हो जो आप चाहते हो उनको देना, राइट? So that is where the Mexican cuisine is stuck up.
When you're talking about McDonald's, well, I've been working for McDonald's, and they told me very clearly, why don't you develop something with the Indian palate? So then they came Aloo Tikki burger,
Correct.
just supporting.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the mint chutney in it and all
Yeah.
that. So it was touching our palate. We could actually, and having said that, even Domino's, they did this chana combination.
See,
You know,
well,
so
in India, they have to work on
to,
Indian palate.
absolutely.
Because Indians are very particular about the food as compared to the rest of the world.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Japanese and Indian cuisine are the most sensitive cuisines of the world, if you agree
Right,
with me.
right.
Yes.
And
So-
I, somewhere want to just pitch in here, sorry, barging in, but then I think Indian food, if we talk about typically Indian, we are not takers of frozen chapati or frozen.
See, ours is a country of fresh food.
yeah,
It is
frozen
each
food.
meal is
Yeah,
made
absolutely.
for that time.
Yeah.
So how can you accept
Absolutely.
Frozen food?
Exactly,
There is no
so-
scope, and there is no
Absolutely.
scope because we believed in cooking our breakfast, lunch, tea, and dinner.
Yeah.
So everything
And
was
fresh.
freshly cooked, and something that was cooked in the morning was not acceptable in the evening because we felt कि ये खाना बच गया, just give it away, or even have a parantha and a achar, but not have been accept things
Absolutely.
which were cooked in the morning to be eaten for dinner.
Absolutely. So I had this privilege of being associated with a company which was actually Podar's venture for the international market. We had to launch Indian food McDonald's pricing. Okay, and we started in Sector 63, Shoprix Mall. This was Akshay Podar, who was actually the Saroj Podar's son. So we went to Venky's and we went to Al Kabir's and we went to, to cook, to make our own recipes of chicken and stuff like that. Then we went to Cremica and gave our sauces and all that stuff happened. And then we were doing Indian food only, but frozen. So we were taking out the dals and we were heating it. We were taking out the chickens and we were heating it. We were taking out the paranthas and again heating it. And we opened in Saraba Nagar in Punjab. So we got the beating. We got a beating all sides, and I was a part of that venture, which over time we flopped. Because we will not accept, India will not accept this, right?
Taran,
Because the actual intent was to get into an international market where you would not have time or you have to get into a cycle the way McDonald's works, because you have to churn out, it has to be systemized, and that line of operation has to be very fast. So the idea was that we have to get our things frozen and then put it in that line so that churn is faster.
I would like to add here, see, the kahavat hai, jaisa desh waisa bhej. So frozen food is not meant for India, largely because the concept doesn't gel with us. It gels very well overseas because they don't have time to cook. And there are very few people who are cooking. And their timings for work is from morning to evening, whereas the ladies in our house have all the time under the sun. In fact, I used to tell my family, the ladies of the family should sleep in the kitchen because whenever I'm awake, I find them, they're working in the kitchen. Well, largely because we had to grind the masala, we have to make fresh masalas. Where do you have the time to cook and then freeze? That concept will never work.
Absolutely,
I think we should
you're
tell
absolutely
the
correct. Because all of us must have tried the frozen foods in our freezers from McCain to everything. And then if you actually look at the backside and see the ingredients, they're more harmful than
they're more
doing.
preservatives.
So there is the flip side also. See, you have to get that it is also about convenience. And we are a very lazy country and humanity, right? We want everything at our doorstep. We are not people who will walk. If there is a mall where there is no parking, we will not go to that mall. Why do markets में क्यों भीड़ लगती है? क्योंकि वहीं गाड़ी लगाई, वहीं उतरे. This is the concept we have. So we are a huge economy, 30-40 crore people. So we will consume all that. So it is not going anywhere. But frozen food had उसके advantage भी हैं. It brings a lot of convenience to us. Having said that, this is for the general public. But when food businesses get into the frozen part of it, that is not to reduce the quality of the food, but that is to increase the shelf life and bring it to last mile. And then of course आपको उसको last mile तड़का उसको उसमें कौन सा sauce डालना है, so on and so forth वो करना पड़ेगा. Otherwise,
I'll add here, when you say that, most of you look at a couple, both husband and wife are working. Where is the time to cook? So there is a little future about frozen food in India because the maids are not easily available.
Yeah, going forward, yes.
Going forward, there is a big scope.
Next generation.
But yes, I would personally say at least cook one meal. At least cook one meal in a
At
day.
least do justice to the Indian food, That is very important,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you asked me a question about what is
Yeah.
the next thing which is going to
Yes.
come, right?
Yes.
So I don't know if any of us have noticed कि बहुत सारे Korean restaurants खुलने शुरू हो गए, right? So consider कि Korean food is the next big thing which is coming. There are more than 30-40 Korean restaurants in Gurgaon itself. छोटे small mom and pop kind of a store. So that is the next big thing, and I will tell you why. Korean is the next version of Chinese. See, हमें already Chinese, chow mein, chatpata, spicy, and with a bit of high amount of salt, we have already accepted that. Now we need to take it to the next level. So the umami flavors in Korean food, and there are a lot of kimchi and pickle, right? So we are used to that those kind of sour pickles, etc. Ramens, Korean ramens, you will find them. People find Japanese ramens very bland. The Japanese food has got hardly any spice. They don't eat any spice. But Korean food is very close to Indian palate. It is the closest, if you see in the whole Southeast Asian. And they don't use coconut milk like Thai or Southeast Asia. So even though Thai curry is kind of, so maybe just about, if I talk about Thai cuisine or Southeast Asian cuisine, so 4-5 आइटम है जो कि पॉपुलर हो पाए हैं पिछले 25 साल में. साते, थाई करी और फाट थाई, right? Kausoi, yeah, that's about it. Yeah, tom yum, that's about it, right? 4-5 items. Now you can't run a restaurant with these 5 items. So you will always have to throw in. So every Thai restaurant saying it is Thai or Southeast Asian would have to have a hot and sour, will have to have a chow mein, will have to have a chili chicken, right? But this issue is not there in Korean cuisine. They have a huge variety, they have stir fries, there are a lot of fresh vegetables, and it is very, very close to our Indian palate, and that's the next big cuisine coming up.
Wonderful. Now, last question before we close this session, which has been a very charged up session, I would say, and I was also requested to extend it for another 10 minutes. So we got extra 10 minutes. Not because there was something lacking, but because this whole thing was very, very interesting. Okay, so last question to you, Gaurav. We are talking about international cuisine being brought into India, and we adapting to it in different, taste palettes or whatever. But then, what about, street food here going global? Because that's also very important.
Absolutely.
Let people identify us globally.
You've hit the nail. I tell you, I mean, Manav just spoke about 25 years and 4 items. He couldn't utter, okay?
Yeah.
And we've been eating our own street food from hundreds and thousands of years, more than 200 years, yeah? And we love them all, and it's still progressing as well.
And still we're not bored of it.
Yeah, and we're not bored of it, okay? So I just fail to understand, why kulcha took so long to come to the mainstream. But yeah, I mean, good for me. But there's so many other items which are there on the street, which are there on different cities or states of the country, which are not being looked into. I mean, India has a huge population. Before even you go international, there is so much of scope here in India itself. I mean, even if you pick 10 items from Delhi itself, I mean, Delhi has 3 crores of population. Many countries don't have that population, so there is so much of scope within India. And yes, we've started to get international queries to open our outlets worldwide. So if you really ask me, people should be focusing more on Indian than maybe
I absolutely agree. This is right now is the time of India. So Indian, not only Indian politics and everything about India, but also about Indian cuisine going abroad. This is what I see.
20 years back when I went to Thailand, 20 years back, okay? That was the first visit. So I saw those diced fruits, properly covered in a cart. And I said, wow, yeah, so hygienic. And there we conceptualize that once in lifetime, I will create something which is to do with street food and get it to the international market. Because our chaats and golgappas for the international palate. So I think that is there staying with me. If somebody wants to join hands with me in this venture, I'm all there.
I want to add one line, Taran. See, it's my personal experience. When there are any foreigners or anybody outside India comes to our country and we take them around to make them feel what is Indian food, we are the first ones to tell them, listen, don't have this, it's very spicy. Don't do this, it's not hygienic. It might not be safe for you. I think the first most important thing is we have to take pride in our own cuisine. Only then will you get it on a global map. When we go out, we find the others' food very hygienic, whereas it might not be. Let me tell you, it might not be. Ours is the most hygienic food because we are cooking everything fresh, a la minute in front of you. You go to a dhaba. What is the success story of a dhaba? Everything is cooked fresh. Even the rotis are made in front of you. And so much so, if they're running short, they need the atta in front of you.
Absolutely.
So how fresh do you want? It cannot be.
Absolutely.
And the tandoori roti that we have in India is actually the concept of Sanjha Chula from Punjab. When it was post-partition or just before partition, people started cooking food in a community. And that is what is the strength of Indian food. And I think we should all accept our own food as the top priority.
Yes,
When you
and
find-
honor it.
Yes,
You know,
honor
this-
And
it,
take pride in
absolutely,
it. Yes,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know, this brings me to share with you. It took me about 6 months to actually finalize how our kitchen is going to look at. You know, when somebody looks at it. Eventually, you know, after 6 months, we said we'll keep our entire kitchen open. Okay. So when you visit our outlet, once in a while I'll get to know from the team कि sir पूछ रहे थे कि इस दीवार के पीछे क्या है. मैंने बोला तो आपने दरवाजा खोल के दिखाया नहीं कि कॉरिडोर है, मतलब कुछ भी नहीं है. You know, so everything in our outlet happens exactly
You
in
know,
front of
that's
you.
The
you know.
why in
diner
the-
wants
in the-
to see,
The diner wants to
and the
see.
diner
Yeah.
wants the comfort that what I'm eating is what I want.
Yes,
You know,
and I
that's
think
very
that is
important.
that has
The
been the
member-
rage because
Yes.
even your standalone restaurants plus your 5 stars. I remember Bukhara actually started that live kitchen
No,
or
the
whatever.
first one was the President.
Okay.
The President restaurant on
Okay.
Asaf Ali Road.
Okay.
That was the first of its kind,
Okay.
but the concept was like Bukhara. You rightly said it. They
True.
would have a glass
Yeah.
and they would have a tandoor right behind the glass.
Sure.
So the diner sitting in the restaurant could see it's been done,
Right.
it's been taken out and
Hmm.
served to me. So
Yeah.
that is the ultimate level of confidence.
Confidence, absolutely,
And,
absolutely.
You know, so this is as far as our live kitchen goes. When we opened our first outlet, the central kitchen, I mean where the entire production happens, that was also part of the first kitchen. You will not believe we kept our entire central kitchen open as well. So you could
Awesome.
actually see
So you should actually
everything.
get all these school tours, you know,
Yeah, you
have
know.
a visit of your place and learn also.
You
know,
will feel the
learning
difference
experience.
yourself.
Absolutely.
You know,
And
your confidence would increase
yes.
many times.
Because you have to
Your
keep it
team
clean,
would
you have
be
to
very
keep
happy.
everything up
Yes.
there. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
so
yeah.
the one thought which made us keep it open is कि अगर मैं छुपाने लग जाऊंगा तो टीम भी
वो
छुपाने
ज़्यादा
लग जाएगी.
वो ज़्यादा छुपाएगी.
वो ज़्यादा छिपाएगी. So let's open it up.
Yeah.
And that is how
So
our,
I think beautiful. This panel was really, really powerful, and street food is going to stay, and we have to
Forever.
take pride forever. 200 years हो ही गए हमें देखते हुए, and we have to take all our street food outside.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
make it
100%.
global.
Take it internationally. Well, I'll tell
We
you,
are
I
going
did a
international.
promotion in London. Earlier when we started, there were just handful of guests, and within 2 hours we had 500 meters people standing waiting for the golgappas, papris, and dahi pakodi.
Awesome.
That was it.
Where
Just
was
had-
this?
This was in London, near
Okay.
Bond Street.
Beautiful.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder कि you know दुनिया में लोगों ने अगर गोलगप्पा नहीं खाया और चाट नहीं खाई और उनको आलू टिक्की नहीं पता तो उन्होंने खाया क्या?
True.
So yeah,
See the
just want to
strength,
end
the
with
So
that.
power
I'm
of
getting
Indian
signals from the BW team. I think we've summed it up well. So thanks everyone for a beautiful contribution here. And I think there's been a lot of takeaways for our audience as well. And we can see good people, number of people standing and hearing us. So thanks for being patient listeners as well. Thank you.